Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/EntitledPeople for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading the post, giving you my opinions at the end, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Nestor Prime. Entitled coworker demands I share my bonus because they deserve it more. So I work at a company that offers bonuses based on individual performance. I recently got a bonus, and let's just say I worked my butt off for it. Late nights, weekends, the whole deal. But here's the kicker. My coworker, who spends half their time scrolling on their phone and consistently turns in work late, actually had the nerve to demand I share my bonus because, in their words, they deserve it more. They went on about how we all work hard and claimed that it was only fair, since they have more expenses than me. I tried explaining that we all get evaluated on our own performance and that it wouldn't be fair to split it. Of course, that didn't go over well. And now they're going around the office calling me selfish and greedy. Some of my coworkers are rolling their eyes at it, but a few are starting to act a bit colder to me. Am I crazy, or is this entitlement at a whole new level? Honestly, if the bonus structure is based upon your work performance, then just ask them, well, if you deserve it more, then how come you didn't earn more then? Like, if you worked hard and you believe you deserve that bonus, then how come it's not on your pay stubs, huh? Not to mention, you can certainly expect that if they received a large bonus, they wouldn't share with you. And besides, you shouldn't have to share a bonus, you earned that shit. Like, fuck. Like, if you work at a company that offers this kind of bonus structure where you're actually rewarded for your extra work, then they should have worked for it. Like, it's a really cool bonus structure, and I know for a fucking fact I would be taking advantage of that shit all the time. There's probably a decent chance that also OP's imagining that some people are being colder about it, but most people are rolling their eyes. If anyone confronts you about it, you hear them talking about it, just simply ask them, how would you feel if you worked hard for a bonus and your coworker was suddenly demanding to deserve a share of it, then went around the office shit-talking you about how greedy and selfish you were? So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about it. If it continues, then you'll probably need to go to HR, which sucks, but honestly, HR is there for a reason. While they're there for the company interests, occasionally they are there to help you out. In this case, it's the company interest to aid you in securing your bonus so you continue to work hard for the company's self-interests. I also know that yesterday I made a comment about HR being bad. Honestly, the video hasn't even gone live yet when I'm recording this, but I'll be curious to see what most people say. HR does serve a purpose and you should not hesitate to go to them if something is going wrong, but also keep in mind HR is not your friend. They are not there to be 100% on your side, they will always 100% be on the company's side. And sometimes them being on the company's side means giving you hush money so you don't sue. So sometimes HR can be beneficial, but also they're not your friend. So if yesterday that comment raised an eyebrow or you have more things to say about it, I'd be curious to hear about it. External tow, 4560. Friend tells me how to save money, but then wants me to buy them stuff. Hi, I let my friend move in because they had nowhere else to go. This is a lot on me because I should have talked more about what I expected. I'm okay with helping them out, but I feel like they just expect me to bankroll them. I've bought a lot of stuff because they told me we need it. A lot of it, yes, comes in handy, but we could do without it. I ask them what they want when I make my grocery order, and so my bill is more than twice what it was when it was just me. But then they go and order DoorDash all the time, but they say they don't have the money to help out with expenses. I am so broke, and my car payment is past due, and they're telling me they don't suggest things for me to do. They basically just tell me this is what you have to do. Tonight they told me to get cheaper car insurance to save money. They also told me that we need an expensive tool. Well, they want to start a furniture flipping business and they would need this tool for that. And they also said they're saving all their money to buy a truck because they need that for the furniture flipping business. They haven't even started yet. They work freelance and they had told me that they were paying $350 a month rent in a place they were before, so I thought they would at least be able to contribute a little. They have bought furniture because they said we needed it, but again, while it is good to have, what's important right now is being able to pay the bills, and that should come before anything else. I have a full-time, very high-stress job, and we're very short-handed right now. I suck at setting boundaries, and this whole situation is horrible for my mental health. I just want them gone, but they have nowhere to go. I'm afraid to try and talk to them. There have already been several things in my house that broke or aren't working since they've been here. I don't think it's on purpose, but they aren't gentle and don't seem to have respect for my stuff. I feel like they think I'm just going to sacrifice everything else to buy them the stuff they want because they think they deserve my money and deserve to tell me what I should buy for my house or for them instead of letting me decide for myself. So this is definitely the obvious solution, but OP does need to start putting up boundaries because, like, the thing is the more that OP lets this happen, the more the friends are going to expect it and escalate it and expect more and more and more and constantly keep asking and asking and asking, and it's just going to keep getting more and more out of control. First things first, stop buying them groceries. If they start taking your food, charge them for it. If they refuse to pay you back, kick them out. And obviously, if they say they need something, tell them, okay, you buy it with your money. And everything that you have purchased for them with your money, you keep that and you sell it right back on Facebook Marketplace or some shit like that. The fact they have the gall to turn around and tell you to get a lower car insurance so you can continue affording their whatever the fuck is going on, honestly, you should just be kicking them out right now. Genuinely. But in case you don't want to burn that bridge for some reason, start by putting up some simple boundaries and continue expanding those boundaries as you see fit. It's difficult, but you'll be far less stressed with a single confrontation than you would be with the compounding stress this is causing you. It's better just to rip the band-aid off sometimes, and honestly, this is a situation where you might just be better off kicking him out, genuinely, because this is someone who does not respect you as a person. MLM. Group admin removed me without warning, then reached out asking for a free trip. So this happened a few years ago during COVID, I don't remember which year, when I worked as a deckhand and a lifeguard on a snorkel excursion boat. I'm a free diver and on occasion also spearfish, albeit rarely. A little before COVID, my friend, who is a photographer, added me to a dive group she's a part of. I was excited as I didn't have many diving buddies and didn't like diving solo, so I thought I might make some new dive buds. My partner and I live with his parents, and his mother is super high risk for complications, so we were pretty strict about COVID precautions and social distancing. I decided to join one of the dive days with about 7 other people in the dive group. I figured it'd be easy to social distance. It was my first time meeting these people aside from my original friend. Before we even got in the water, I started to realize they may not be my kind of people. I tried to meet people, but most weren't interested in chatting with me. They made a circle to talk, and I ended up standing awkwardly on the outside uninvolved because they were almost shoulder to shoulder, and I needed to social distance. I tried to be involved in the topics, but it felt like cool story, bro, kind of thing, and I just kind of stopped trying. Well, after that dive, I decided I'd likely wait till COVID passed more to dive with them, unless it was less than 3 people, since none of them took any precautions. I'd still check in on the group a few times a week in case something small was planned, and I felt like joining, but most times it was larger groups or scheduling didn't align. Since I was reading the chats, I learned a bit more about this group. Mainly that many in the group are vegan. They didn't like me asking if anyone would like to join a spearfishing session. A fourth to a half were anti-vax, that most were either photographers or influencers. I did have a few good friends in the group, but I had met them prior to the group. I worked on the boat 3 days a week, but my captain wanted to hire another person to work the other 2 to 3 days a week, so I offered up the job in the dive group since I knew most everyone could free dive the minimum 40 feet required for the job. Only one person was interested, but scheduling didn't work out. The admin of the group, we will call Maisie, ended up removing me from the group without warning. I didn't find out till I tried to find the chat and it was gone, so I asked her about it. She said she removed me because I wasn't participating in dives right now. I had told the group I was only doing 2 to 3 man dives till vaccines were available and or COVID was less of a concern. This was because most of the dives had been larger groups or scheduling issues, so yeah, I hadn't been participating much. She said she needed to make room for people to join the group that wanted to and that would actually participate. Ouch, but okay, fair. I thought the fact that she didn't tell me when she did it was weird, but just moved on since I still had my prior friends. Now, I never told them I also run the social media page for the boat company I work for, and a few days after getting booted from the group, I get a message to our company's social media from Maisie. Is she inquiring about the available position we need to fill to help us get more business and survive COVID? Nope. She wants a free half-day excursion to the neighboring island in return for exposure, telling us how her followers will be booking our trip and she'll bring a boost to profits by promoting us. Can't say I was surprised. Disappointed? Yes. I don't remember exactly what I wrote back to her, but this is the closest I can recollect. Hello. Thanks for reaching out to our company. Unfortunately, due to COVID restrictions, our capacity has been cut in half to adhere to social distancing requirements. This has led to our demand rising, since what we could previously accommodate in one excursion must now be split into 2 trips a day at max capacity restrictions. You promised that exposure will increase our bookings, but without a contract showing hard numbers and an agreement to reimburse us if projections fall short of the agreed amount, we cannot warrant a free half-day excursion for exposure over a paying guest. We are also short-staffed and only able to operate 3 days a week at this time, limiting our income even more under the already financial strain of COVID. Local businesses dealing with these setbacks is widely known about, and we find it in bad taste to request free excursions or products from small businesses under this well-known strain. We can offer you a resident discount, but that is all. We hope you decide to support small businesses in this time. However, we understand COVID has put financial strain on all. We do have positions open to apply for if you have trouble finding work and making ends meet in these hard times. She never responded, and I never talked to or saw her again. About 6 months to a year later, the COVID restrictions lightened a bit for travel, and our location was drowning in tourists. Our already high demand skyrocketed, and we were doing 3 to 4 trips a day, nearly back to back because we were still short-staffed. I busted my ass and I made bank. I was able to save up for a big purchase a few years faster than planned, and all I could think about was how if she had taken up the job offer instead of asking for free stuff, they'd have a great job on the water and be making some great money. God, I fucking hate quote-unquote influencers who try to pull their weight around like, oh, we'll just do it for exposure. No, fuck you. If you are running a small business, the approach of literally saying, hey, show us the numbers so we can guarantee success before we even consider giving you free shit. That is the best way to approach that. See, the problem is there's maybe a handful, let's say in total 100 influencers, who actually, when they go to cover a place, can't reliably bring more traction towards them. They go and they post a video of themselves at that restaurant or location or tourist guide and essentially establish a new meta. Smaller and up-and-coming influencers will see this meta and think to themselves, oh, if I can also go on these excursions or dinners or stuff like this, I can also be a part of the meta and look like a more important influencer than I actually am. They can't afford to go on these trips, so they try to leverage their influence to bring more people so they can kind of work around it. Have the video footage to show they're living an exciting life while also conning smaller local businesses out of profit. I have been in creator discords where I've seen them talking about this exact tactic, and it's gross. I also feel like the label that people give themselves as influencer is inherently manipulative, and I do not like that. I always go for the label of content creator, because being called an influencer makes me feel fucking icky. Like I'm on the same level like these goddamn ghouls who will go and just like use that label to try and get leverage and free shit in their life. I mean, you're already privileged enough as it is. Like, good God, that Mercedes didn't buy itself. Waste of bison. Airline agent calls Karen's bluff. Important context, the airline in question doesn't assign seats, but they do have a well-defined orderly boarding process. So Southwest. On the day in question, an ATC outage at one airport borked things nationwide. Chains of delayed flights, including ours, connections messed up, quite a few of them on our plane alone, the whole 9 yards, and Karen is parked at the desk at our gate. She's clearly already asked for and received a manager. She's at the quiet but palpable theory stage. The problem, you see, is that her boarding position is unsatisfactory. She simply must be one of the first people on the plane. No, boarding after the first group isn't acceptable. She demands that they give her a better number. They point out that those spots already belong to other people, and, oddly enough, they refuse to boot another passenger from their rightful boarding position for her convenience. So, she pulls out what she thinks is the big guns. Fine, cancel the trip. The whole thing. And they did, without blinking an eye. The manager calmly, professionally, charged her a cancellation fee, and then disappeared before I could thank him on behalf of the rest of the passengers on our 3.5-hour flight. It was so delicious to watch. Definitely the most satisfying thing I've witnessed in a while. I'm comfortable assuming that we would have been diverted somewhere so our local law enforcement could treat her to an involuntary layover. Yet don't tempt an airline when a cancellation fee's in order, because that's profit for them. Not only do they get the full ticket, but God, do they get that extra little fee, and you have to go home. Chloe Smith. My neighbor thinks my driveway is her free parking spot. So I live in a townhouse with a small driveway, just big enough for my car. My next door neighbor doesn't have a driveway and has to park on the street, which is fine. Except she's decided that my driveway should be her backup spot whenever she wants. It started off as an emergency situation a couple of times, like she had people over or street parking was tight. I didn't say anything at first because it seemed temporary. But now it's almost a weekly thing. She'll park in my driveway without asking and just says, "Oh, I know you wouldn't mind," when I confront her. The last straw was when she blocked me in one morning while I was running late for work. I asked her, again, not to park there, and she actually had the nerve to tell me I was being unneighborly and selfish for not sharing my driveway. I'm honestly at a loss, and she's acting like I'm the one being difficult here. Like it's already aggravating and frustrating enough when she's taking your driveway up with her car where she should not be because that's your house and your property. And the fact that it's escalated to her now causing you to be even further late for work, it's unacceptable. I just flat out tell her, hey, like if I see this happening again, I'm going to have to tow your car because I was almost late to work because of you, or I was late to work because of you. Also, definitely get it in writing and make sure that she's aware that she's not allowed to park on your driveway anymore, because if she's just simply now utilizing it as her own personal parking space and thinks that she's entitled to it, yeah, that shit's gotta stop. Like as an example, if my neighbors were hosting a Thanksgiving and they were in a position where the street was gonna be flooded and they needed additional parking and they came to my home and asked, hey, could we like use your driveway for like 3 hours as a temporary parking space while we have people coming over? I would say yes because they asked, and I also have a timeline for when it's going to be, and as long as I'm not planning on going anywhere, I don't have a problem with that. Because they asked for permission and it's very clear this is a temporary arrangement, which it sounds like OP never asked in the first place. And yeah, honestly, if it happens again, tow the car. And just simply let her know I was going to be late for work and you weren't answering your door. Lemon Pepper Wings 4. She friendzoned me and got mad at me for blocking her. Hey guys, new to Reddit person thing. Anyway, I have a nice little story for you guys that I hope you will enjoy. About 3 years ago, I, 25 male, had feelings for a girl we'll call Megan. She, 22 female, was nerdy, into anime, and played a lot of video games. It was those traits that made me interested in her, since I was also an anime lover/gamer. Over time, that interest turned into genuine attraction. At first, I was hesitant about asking her out because I wasn't sure if she felt the same, but after some encouragement from my friends, I made my move. We met up at a local diner for lunch. The diner was one of those mom and pop places and the food was really good. As we're eating, I finally decided to tell her how I felt. Again, I was hesitant about doing so, but went through with it anyway. She seemed receptive at first. She asked me what it was about her that made me interested in her. So I listed a few things. Her interest in anime, her taste in video games, her dark sense of humor, things like that. I didn't want to ask her to be my girlfriend right then and there, so instead, I asked if she would be up for getting to know each other more and maybe going on an actual date or two to see where things go from there. She then goes on to apologize and say that she does like me, but only as a friend. She said that she didn't want to ruin our friendship and that she didn't want there to be any bad feelings if we did get together but broke up. Hearing that hurt a bit. Part of me wanted to at least try to convince her to change her mind, but the only words that came out of my mouth were, okay, I'm fine with that. We chatted for a little while longer before we left the diner and went our separate ways. I tried to reach out a few times after that day to see how she was doing, but I was either left on read or met with one-word replies. So, after a while, I stopped reaching out. Fast forward about 2 months, I finally met someone new. We'll call her Sophie. Sophie, 24, was into art and photography. In her own words, she told stories with her art. Whatever piqued her interest wound up as a painting or a sculpture or a framed photograph. She was really good at it, and after a while, those same feelings from months before started to come back. What I didn't expect was for her to feel the same way. I asked her to go on a date with me, and she said yes. Date nights became a regular thing until eventually we made things official. After our 7th date, I asked her if she would like to be my girlfriend, and she said yes. The next day, when I told my friends about it, they were stoked, since they were the ones that pushed me to move on and not let my rejection from months ago bother me. A week later, I'm sitting in my room, reading a book, when I get a messenger notification. I take a look and see that it's from Megan. I thought that this was kind of weird considering the fact that she hadn't spoken to me in months. So out of curiosity, I opened the message. Her message was basically a short paragraph, talking about how after having some time to think, she decided that she actually did want to be my girlfriend. Her message said that she always had feelings for me and that she was ready to give us a chance. Now, things start to look even more weird. I mean, really, after all this time, all the one-worded replies and unread messages, now she has feelings? I took a screenshot of her message and sent it to Sophie. After that, I blocked Megan, and I thought that was the end of it. About 2 days later, Megan shows up to my house and she's extremely upset. As I open the door, she starts ripping me a new one, telling me how horrible I am for blocking her after she confessed her feelings for me. I told her that she has no right to be upset about anything, considering the fact that she was the one who rejected me and said that we would never be a thing. She then tries to guilt trip me, asking me if her feelings for me meant anything. I then said, "Where were those feelings when I was single?" I told her that she doesn't get to switch up now that she sees me with someone else and then get upset at me for not going along with it. I told her to have a nice day and then shut the door. Our friend group is divided on this, and I'm starting to question if I did the right thing or not. I was just a bit upset. It felt like she just expected me to just ditch my girlfriend for her just because she changed her mind. I don't know, what do you guys think? I'm not sure if this is a controversial take, but I do think OP made the right choice by blocking Megan, because my assessment, which this could be incorrect, is that Megan was currently seeing someone else but wanted to keep OP around as someone as a fallback guy. When the relationship didn't work out and she went to go visit her fallback guy and found out that he had already moved on and was seeing someone else, she probably wasn't very happy about that. And I'm not saying that all women or girls do this. I mean, hell, some guys do this too. This is just a common thing for scumbags to do. And I think Megan was one of them. Good for OP for finding Sophie because they sound like they have a really good relationship and it sounds like he's pretty dedicated to her. The thing is after he blocked Megan, that should have told Megan that he has no interest in her. The fact that she just showed up at his door is honestly pretty uncomfortable, because imagine if you're in a position where a guy sends you a massive paragraph text message confessing his love to you, you're not interested, he's kind of pushy, you block him, and the next day he shows up at your door. That is an uncomfortable situation to be in, and OP I think handled it pretty well. But of course, if you disagree, please let me know in the comments. It's always nice to see other opinions and to kind of help expand my worldview if I'm incorrect on something, so don't hesitate to disagree with me. Anon lyrics. You don't move quick enough, I'm gonna roll my stroller over your feet a few times. Hey all, had this happen to my partner and I in Barcelona today. We got on the metro and it was relatively empty at the stop we got on, but there was this very gross smell on that particular train. We had a seat, but the smell was very strong, and we had a 30-minute ride to our destination, so we decided to try and move towards the front of the train. As we got to the middle portion of the train, we noticed that it was empty, and the smell was unbearably strong. Our guess was that someone had an accident and pooped their pants, so we decided to head towards the back of the train. Some part of the back of the train is the priority area, but many people were standing in this area due to the terrible smell from the middle of the train. So we joined these groups of people. As the stops went by, the train was getting fuller and fuller. At one of the stops, this lady and her husband had a stroller with their kid. Now, we understand that the baby with the stroller gets the priority space. We didn't even see her enter as we were standing, faced away from the door, and there was quite a bit of people. She pushed her way through the crowd, and she happened to want the area we were in. So I moved out of the way for her and her stroller. But I guess my partner did not move fast enough for her, and she rolled over his foot 3 times with the stroller by pushing him to move. He was trying to move over, but there were people next to him, who were moving over slowly, since it was a full car. My partner asked if they could stop rolling over his foot so many times. This lady became very defensive, saying that she can push if she wants because she's entitled to this priority space. He argued with her that he was trying to move, but it was unnecessary to roll the stroller over his toes over and over again when he's wearing flip-flops, and that it hurt. She started yelling at him that he was disrespectful, so she had no respect for him, and to turn his eyes away from hers. At this point, he was getting pissed and he said, "I can look where I want, and I prefer to look at you." Then she got even more mad. "If you want to fight, we can fight all day." My partner decided to disengage at this point because he realized it was stupid. And at this point also, the couple next to him moved over enough that he could give them space to have the stroller where they wanted. Are we the crazy ones here? Like, how can a mother yell like that in front of their child at another stranger they don't even know for something so small when they were the ones that were using the stroller as a weapon to get what they want, instead of, politely asking? Is this the type of world we live in now, where there's just no courtesy and understanding? I would like to understand how to diffuse this type of situation because it made me really upset my partner got yelled at for something like this. It doesn't bother him at all, but I feel quite helpless and powerless as I was in shock. So I grew up in a state that did not have public transport, so I have no idea how to navigate public transport situations like this. Like, how do you approach someone being a complete bastard on the public transport system? Like genuine question. I'm with OP on this one because I don't know how to diffuse and de-escalate. Do you just ignore them and cross your fingers your toes don't get broken, or what? Because I also feel like that just simply bowing down and giving them exactly what they want the moment they do something negative or aggressive just simply kind of emboldens this behavior. Don't forget, this is brought to you by GamerSupps. Use code ODDS at checkout. It's basically a caffeine powder that you put in your water, and I actually really like it. I use this on a daily basis. Don't forget that every purchase you make using code ODDS directly supports the channel. And if you want a personal recommendation from me, I would either recommend the Soda Pressing Pear or Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are currently my favorite flavors. And as a note, once we sell a certain amount of stuff, I get my own flavor and my own cup, and you all know I'm gonna choose some degenerate shit that's gonna make their PR team squirm. My goal is to make them regret partnering with me. So please, use code ODDS at checkout to make my dream come true of making a PR team squirm.